Hey ladies, so today I want to discuss a interesting topic which is inspired by a comment from one of our subbies here, and she mentioned babyface privilege. And so today I want to debunk this and figure out if this is actually a privilege or if this is actually a thing. And this is just going to be one of our lighthearted fun videos where we kind of go into different concepts of beauty privilege. And babyface privilege is something that recently came up in my comment section, and I got so curious, so I went to ChatGPT and I asked ChatGPT about babyface privilege and if it's real. And so my question to you ladies before we even get started is, has anyone ever told you that you look younger for your age? Because that actually can be a blessing or a curse. In my personal opinion, I think it is a huge compliment for someone to say you have a baby face, because that means no matter how old you get, you're still going to look youthful. You're still going to look fresh. And who's mad about that? You know, that's something to be proud of. I think a lot of people are trying their hardest to get a lot of cosmetic enhancements to sort of reverse the hands of time or press pause on their aging. And so in reality, a lot of people wish they had baby faces. A lot of people wish they had that look of youthfulness and innocence. So I want to do a deep dive today into this sort of controversial concept of babyface privilege and just exploring if this is actually something that exists and whether or not it's a real advantage or just a societal perception. So first, we have to define babyface privilege. So babyface privilege refers to social and psychological advantages that individuals with youthful and childlike facial features may experience in different settings. So that could be at work, this could be in legal scenarios, in any type of social setting you can think of. And usually these features typically have to do with having larger eyes or a wider set or larger set eyes, smaller nose, round cheeks, a small chin, and generally soft and less angular face. People with such features are often perceived as more innocent, sometimes even trustworthy. Some people may say that these people look more approachable and warm and non-threatening, which can influence how some people treat us. And so now I want to get into the perceived benefits of babyface privilege, and then we're going to get into the limitations and what some of the downsides may be. So the perceived benefits of babyface privilege include trust and likability. So obviously, like I just said, people see your face, they look at you, and you remind them of a child. So naturally, they're going to have more trust in you because you look more approachable, which also will lead them to believe that you're maybe a little bit more honest and kind, even though there's no rational basis for that. It's just kind of a psychological thing that clicks off in people's minds when they see someone with a really gorgeous baby face. I think a lot of times too, having the ability to invoke trust and likability in people gives you an edge in different interpersonal relationships and settings. So anyone who's tried to work up the corporate ladder, individuals who are dealing with customers and customer facing jobs, I think people are just more receptive to people who have a more approachable, kind, softer face. And this is why beauty privileges tend to not be fair, because literally genetics is a roll of the dice. And so if you're born with baby face privilege or pretty privilege or both, you have unfair advantages that not a lot of people can speak to. So cheers to whoever has both. I will also say with legal and workplace outcomes, there are a lot of perceived benefits to having babyface privilege as well. So after doing some research, I did find that research shows babyface defendants in court. So if there was someone who had to go to court and they were defending themselves in court against someone who was accusing them of something, were often given lighter sentences or were even likely to be acquitted, especially for nonviolent crimes. So the punishment that babyface privileged people receive is so much lighter and is so much less harsh than what I guess someone who isn't as attractive or doesn't have that babyface privilege would receive. In hiring decisions, so with work, oftentimes these types of individuals are going to benefit from being perceived as more cooperative or team oriented, which again, I don't think that's really a healthy perception to have, but I think that's what studies have shown society and just the general public believes. And when it comes to media and celebrity appeal, especially in entertainment, goes as far as like modeling, rappers, singers, actresses, and actors, a babyface can be an asset. because it usually evokes emotional engagement and makes actors in particular appear more relatable and even more lovable, which can really help with the role that they're playing when it comes to vulnerability. And obviously, if you have a feature or a certain privilege or a certain aesthetic about you that evokes feelings of relatability or lovability in people, you're going to get booked for more gigs. You're going to get booked for that magazine cover. You're going to get booked to walk in that show. You're going to get booked to model for someone's brand. You're going to get booked to act in this movie or this TV show. People are drawn to that look for a reason, and there's a reason why those people continue to get booked. There's a reason why people who have baby faces, who may have doe eyes, who have really soft features and round cheeks and a rounder face, tend to play specific roles constantly and are always booked for those specific roles and are always sought after because they have that universal baby face look. I would also say, I don't know if this is necessarily a benefit, but this is something that is on the more positive side of society's perception of babyface privilege, and it's being perceived as innocent and having more forgiveness on your side. So whenever you make a mistake, people with baby faces are more likely to be forgiven and viewed as having made an honest error, as opposed to someone who maybe has more pretty privilege, so they have stronger features, maybe they're more striking and stunning to look at, maybe more intimidating. Those types of people, people tend to make examples out of them. I can relate to that, people being so intimidated and threatened by you that they decide to make an example out of you and try to hurt you because of how you look. But if you have a baby face and you look innocent and come off as non-threatening, people are going to be more patient with you. They're going to be more forgiving. They're going to give you more grace because of your perceived innocence. And now here are some limitations. And so, like I was saying before, babyface privilege is sort of a double-edged sword. There are some benefits, but there are also some downsides. So while babyface privilege can offer a lot of advantages, like we just kind of spoke about socially, so like in the workplace, in legal matters and affairs, with relationships with men, with jobs and opportunities, it can also undermine perceptions of competence in leadership roles or in high-stake negotiations. So I definitely can see how this would be a thing, because if someone has a baby face and they're trying to become a CEO of a company, or if they're trying to become VP of a company, or if they're trying to become like a big politician or have some type of leadership role, like I was just saying, people are going to doubt your competence and your capabilities, which is extremely unfair, because why is your face a component in whether or not you're smart or not? It's kind of unfair, because it's like, why is my face and how I look a factor in whether or not I am taken seriously in these spaces? Why is my face and how I look a factor in whether or not I'm able to execute my job effectively and efficiently? I don't think it's fair to, kind of put that label on babyface people, or people who have more of an innocent look, that they're not cutthroat enough to be in politics, or they're not cutthroat enough to deal with certain obstacles or be in high-stake negotiations. It's very troubling, and this is something you'll find a lot too with really predatory industries like the car industry. If you have a baby face and you have a baby voice on top of that, but you're a grown-ass woman and you go into a dealership and you're trying to buy a car and you don't have a man with you, be prepared for those people to try to play in your face 1,000%. I don't know what it is, but the car industry is one of those industries where they will literally try to slime you out if they think that you are incompetent, unaware, naive, green. They will literally try to milk you dry and upsell you on things and overcharge you for things, because they think that you are unaware of the tricks and schemes that they're trying to pass on you. So that is probably the biggest downside of having a baby face, is that people are going to try to play with you. You're going to have people try to bully you too. When you have a very innocent, kind, sweet face that resembles a child, people are going to not like you because they feel like you're lacking in substance or character. Because of how you look, they may think that you are slow or dumb, or you're not a bad bitch. Like, some people are really shallow in the sense that they think if you have a baby face, that means that you're not really sexy or you don't have sex appeal. We all know that's not true. There are people who play on their doe eyes and their baby faces, who have a lots of sex appeal and who are praised and loved for their ability to play up on their baby face privilege while also being sexy at the same time. So ladies, that is kind of my 2 cents on baby face privilege. I'd love to have a conversation further in the comment section. What do you think of this phenomenon? Is this something that you think is real? Let me know down below in the comment section. I'll also be leaving my email in the description box so you can share your stories with me there as well. Have a lovely day, ladies.